Hello and welcome to grammar class. Today's lesson is the past perfect continuous tense. But what is the structure of the verb in past perfect continuous tense? Well, the past perfect continuous structure is the auxiliary verb had plus been plus the fourth form or the ing form of the main verb, that is the present participle of the main verb. So in past perfect continuous tense, we use two helping or auxiliary verbs, had and been, before the ing form of the principal verb. So in past perfect continuous tense, whatever the subject of the sentence is, we use had been and the ing form of the main verb. But what does the past perfect continuous tense denote? It shows that a past activity was in progress for a certain period of time before another past activity took place or up to a certain point of time in the past. Now let me clarify. If an action was going on for a certain period of time in the past before another action took place, or if the past action was going on for a certain period of time up to a certain time in the past, then we use the past perfect continuous tense for that ongoing past activity. In other words, if an action began in the past and then continued for some time till another action took place in the past, or till a certain point of time in the past, then for that continuous past action we use the past perfect continuous tense. In the name past perfect continuous, perfect means completed and continuous means in continuity or ongoing. So the past perfect continuous tense shows an action that started in the past and continued till a certain time in the past or ended when another past action took place. Now see some examples of past perfect continuous tense in sentences. He had been working in the company for 5 years before he resigned. Here, had been working is in past perfect continuous tense. The act of working started in the past and continued for 5 years till his resignation. And now the second sentence. He had been smoking for years before he got cancer. In this sentence, the verb had been smoking is in past perfect continuous tense. It shows that his act of smoking began in the past and continued for years until another past action took place, until he got cancer. In the last example, she told the police that someone had been stalking her for a few days. Here, had been stalking or following is in past perfect continuous tense. The other verb is told, which is in simple past tense, and the act of stalking was already in progress for a few days before she told the police about it. So in these examples, the verbs had been working, had been smoking and had been stalking are in past perfect continuous tense, and they show past actions that continued for some time up to a certain time in the past. But how to use the past perfect continuous tense in negative sentences? We know that there are two helping verbs in past perfect continuous tense, had and been. Not is placed in between had and been. For example, he had not been eating for a week before his death. We were worried because he had not been coming since the weekend. We can see in these examples that not is placed immediately after had and before been in these sentences. And if it is an interrogative sentence, we put the first auxiliary verb had before the subject and the second auxiliary verb been and the main verb in the fourth form or the ing form come after the subject. For example, had he been waiting since midnight? And then the sentence, why had the baby been crying till late last night? In these examples, we can see that the auxiliary verb had has come before the subject he in the first sentence, and again had has come before the subject the baby in the second sentence, while been and the main verb have come after the subject. The past perfect continuous tense is also used in indirect speech to refer to an ongoing or progressive action of the past if the reporting verb is in simple past tense. For example, he said that he had been living there for 10 years. Here, had been living is in past perfect continuous tense because the reporting verb said is in simple past tense. Similarly, I asked him if he had been spying on me. Had been spying is in past perfect continuous tense because asked is in simple past tense. In fact, the past perfect continuous tense is generally used with the simple past tense. For example, he had been smuggling narcotics for years before the police arrested him, and he had been working for 10 years before he resigned. Here the earlier continuous activities, smuggling and working, are in past perfect continuous tense, while the later activities, arrested and resigned, are in simple past tense. As it is, the past perfect continuous tense is generally not used alone or without any time reference. Now let's see a quick comparison between past continuous tense and past perfect continuous tense. Well, the past continuous tense, as the name suggests, shows an ongoing or continuous action at a certain time in the past. For example, I was watching TV at 4 p.m. yesterday. The past continuous tense doesn't provide any other information. On the other hand, the past perfect continuous tense shows a prolonged and continuous past action up to a definite time in the past or before another past action took place. For example, he had been working there for 2 years before his dismissal. In a nutshell, the past continuous tense only shows that an action was going on at a certain point of time in the past, while the past perfect continuous tense shows that an action was in progress for a long time in the past before another past action took place. Some time expressions such as since, for, before, etc. are frequently used with past perfect continuous tense, but they are not used with past continuous tense. Now let's compare the past perfect continuous tense with the present perfect continuous tense. I also recommend that you watch my previous video on present perfect continuous tense for a better understanding. He had been playing for 20 years before he announced his retirement. Here, had been playing is in past perfect continuous tense. It shows that the act of playing continued for a long time in the past before another past action, his announcement of retirement, took place. So the past perfect continuous tense shows that his prolonged act of playing ended when another past activity took place. On the other hand, in the second sentence, he has been playing for the last 20 years. The verb has been playing is in present perfect continuous tense. It shows that his act of playing began in the past, but it still continues. It is still going on for a long time. Finally, please note that the past perfect continuous tense is not used in passive voice. We cannot change a past perfect continuous sentence into passive voice. That's the end of today's class. I hope you liked the video. Please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell for more grammar videos. Thanks for watching.